Welcome to Buckets, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network, joined by Sean Little. He's at Chicago Flow. He's very excited about the Chicago Bears this weekend. Who's not? Who's not excited about the Bears? As I can't find any reason why they can possibly cover Puka Nacua at any level this weekend. But hey, it'll be a good time. Also joined by Bryan Fonseca. You can catch him at Bryan Fonseca MY on Twitter and the Action Network app. You can catch him on his own YouTube channel at Bryan Fonseca, where he breaks down European basketball and North American basketball and South American basketball and WNBA and combat sports and many things. You can also catch him
Chinese basketball, Fonseca.
You can also catch him on the New York Post. You can also catch him on the Post, the New York Post, where he does watch-alongs to the Knicks games and does podcasts about the Knicks and does all sorts of awesome stuff. Everything we talk about tonight can be found in the award-winning Action Network app. It's the best way for you to track your picks. You get up-second information where the bets and money are coming in. You get cool stuff like if you sign up for Action Pro, you get Sean Kerner's props immediately before they get nuked into the sun. You get Brandon Anderson's futures to ride with him on all his islands. And if you use promo code POD20, you can get $20 off an annual subscription at Action Pro at actionnetwork.com/pro. That's promo code POD20 to get all the juicy goodness of Action Pro. We're going to do best bets for Friday, January 16th in the association. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about OKC and Houston. So tonight, the Thunder and the Rockets play, and it looked like it was a back and forth affair, and it was like a really close game, and I was like dialed in and like making notes. And then the fourth quarter came, and the Thunder just put BTA. Like it was just an absolute, it was a little brothering by the Oklahoma City Thunder. I have some questions off of this because what we're kind of looking at now, I think it was easy to kind of blame some of the Rocket stuff on like, well, you know, Şengün was out. Well, then he got back and like, they're still like this. How can I put this? I don't want to start shit. I just want to say there is not a lot of signs of a great dynamic between Kevin Durant and Alperen Şengün. So like KD had a really nice feed to him in this game, like had like a really great pass to him in the third quarter that Şengün finished. And you know how like after there's like a really good assist and a finish, like the two guys will run up the floor and they'll do the little like either like a little hand slap or like a little point, like I see you, I got you, hey, good job. Nothing. Those two just like ran up the court like it was two guys walking out of a CPA meeting. Like it was nothing. I think they're obviously missing the point guard. There has been burblings this week that maybe Fred VanVleet could possibly do this thing where now we're just going to play everybody coming off these traumatic injuries. I just would not expect that. I do not think that is likely. But there's like talk that maybe Fred VanVleet could come back for the playoffs. They still like, that's not going to get you there. Rockets right now are sitting at 23-15. Now they're only two back of the 2 seed in the Western Conference. It's two back in like very quietly, we're shaping up for what could be an absolutely insane last 2 months of the season if this holds for another month, because the 2 seed San Antonio Spurs and the 7 seed Phoenix Suns are separated by 4 games in the loss column. Like it's tight, and 6 and 2 are separated by only 2 games. It is tight. So Houston can play better, and I don't want to overreact to this, but I am kind of like, if we're talking about the teams in the Western Conference that can actually win this conference, and it's obviously OKC and then everybody else, but let's say that, you know, shock of all shocks, the champ doesn't repeat here. Sean, are you willing to put Houston into that group still with like, are you willing to put them with Denver and Minnesota and San Antonio? Or is it like how do you tier out below the Thunder in the Western Conference for who can actually win this thing?
Yeah, it's difficult. I do still put them there. Of course, I put Denver there when the big fella gets back in the fold. I think they are built for playoff ball. Now, it's not fun that, you know, their 2 best guys, especially offensively, seem to not be on the best accord. But I think overall it's still a defensive first squad that's built for the playoffs. That will be a nightmare defensively, and you'll be really hard pressed over 7 games to kind of break that down on a night-to-night basis. And they still have Durant offensively, who is still efficient and still get things done. So, yeah, I'm not going to count out the Houston Rockets right now, but there's still time to figure that stuff out as well. We do this every year where, someone goes to a new spot, like Kevin Durant, probably the easiest guy that could slide into any team and make it the easiest transition of all. And it still takes time. So I still think it's early enough in the season. We're not even at the midway point for them to get on track and get things done. But I think they're going to be a nightmare overall over a 7-game stretch. And I think you saw it for a good amount of that game until the fourth quarter showed up.
Brian, do you feel like the Rockets are amongst that group?
And last point, the Thunder move different when they're not playing the Spurs. I don't know if I'm the only one seeing it. It's like they physically have a different edge when they play other people. I know they dusted off San Antonio the other night, but even for a good amount of that game until it got out of hand, it was still pretty tight. And we're still not at a point where Victor's playing the full allotment of minutes. They look tentative. They look that there's something about that Spurs team that does not jive with them. Of course, it starts with Chet, but I don't want to say they're scared, but they're not interested in playing those guys too much.
Brian, Rockets now plus 900 at DraftKings Sportsbook to win the Western Conference. That is twice the price of the Denver Nuggets, who are plus 450. So, I say this all the time. You're never going to feel comfortable in the buy low spot. Is this like a buy low spot on Houston, given the upside of this team?
So if I'm doing that, I have to bet on the trade deadline.
Yeah,
and I think they have to do something, but I don't really know what it is. And I think that's something that we should talk out, because I don't really, in looking at the team just real quickly, in looking at, first of all, it's still a lot of Josh Okogie, which this late in the year, I didn't expect that we'd still be here with respect to Josh Okogie. And the other thing, and just in general, and this was really the difference for me, was the benches, but the bench specifically, aside from Steven Adams, who obviously he did a good job on the boards. But aside from that, we had guys who liked Reece Shepherd tonight, for example. This should have been a decent spot for him to produce off the bench, and he struggled. There's a lot of JD Davidson also. Mm-hmm. And I'm just watching this Rockets team, and I'm like, I thought this team would be deeper. Mm-hmm. And there are still some times where I watch them and I watch the bench production, Steven Adams aside, and I'm kind of like, there needs to be more when we get to the spring. So I don't know what the move is. It's not John Morant. it's not something like that. But I don't know what it is. Like, what's the move at this point, man? What do you think?
Well,
I'm excited.
So what I would say is,
He's trying to figure out how to say it.
People underestimate how much influence Ime Udoka has. I think that there is, in many cases around the league, there is a tension. Like, here's one. So, this is not hard to figure out. Billy Donovan wants to win games. Billy Donovan's like, we could get it together and make a run for the play-in tournament. Billy Donovan wants to compete. Because Billy Donovan
ranted about this last night.
God, I can't believe you just said that.
And, but to their credit, Bulls management is like, no, man. We are slashing salary and going for the pick. They're doing the responsible thing. Now, that probably means they're just going to lose Kobe White. That's what I think happens. Is they lose Kobe White. And maybe that's an option for Houston. Milwaukee is very interested in Kobe White. When I say this, it's to point out that Ime Udoka has a lot of say over what goes on. And I think Ime Udoka does not want to wait and does not want to be patient. And I think Ime Udoka is like, I can win with Kevin Durant. Look at the season that he's having. And I think that if you look at the one team that can go to Milwaukee before the deadline and go, hey, take your pick of the young guys. They'll try and hold out for some guys, especially the best young guy, because they've got, Jalen's gone, right? So we're down to, it's Şengün, Jabari, and Reed. But I think that it will not surprise me if Houston at least makes the call to be like, what would be your level of interest here? Right. And this probably doesn't happen, because what probably happens is that they call and they're like, hey, we'll give you the young guys. And then Milwaukee goes, great, and throw over 4 picks. And then Houston hangs up and is like, you're not serious. But if Milwaukee is like, we would take one of the young guys and cap filler, or the young guy and like only a pick, I don't know what Houston does there. And I think it's really risky. I think it's really dangerous to be betting on Kevin Durant at this point in his career. But the only reason I think that that's possible is I do think that Ime Udoka wants to win right now. And they traded Kevin Durant without having to give the future assets. And that was supposed to be the thing, is like, hey, we kept all this stuff intact and we just add on Kevin Durant and we have all this other stuff too. Check it out. But one, you can't really do the deal for the megastar that you want to add if you don't throw in the big money contracts. And two, you can't look at Jabari Smith and be like, oh yeah, we're going to cash in the chips here.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't really look at Reed Shepherd and be like, oh yeah, we're going to cash in the chips here, even though Reed had a really good early start to the season. So
Doesn't it feel like two things on that? One, it does feel like when you watch them, Kevin Durant has to do more than probably they wanted. They, meaning maybe he made the most, but probably they wanted him to shoulder at this point. And then two, this matchup in particular, I mean, they can't seem to get Kevin Durant the easiest shots down the stretch of against OKC. Like that. I mean, that's sort of the issue.
Rockets fans are mad at the offense. Rockets fans are mad at
Understood.
the offense and how it's constructed.
Mm-hmm.
One of the problems that's really just kind of present though is like everybody's looking for point guard. Minnesota wants a point guard, but the trick is that everybody wants a point guard who can score, that you can put on the floor in a playoff series, but also who doesn't need the ball all the time. Right? That's why nobody was going for Trey. It's like, that's why I think Kobe White is the one that everyone's kind of leaning towards, because it's like, okay, not a good defender, but like, can we get away with it? Like, can we survive that way if we've got enough? I don't know that you can, but that's the idea. That's kind of like the objective that I think they're trying to figure out here.
Yeah, Kobe White did they tried to jam him into the point guard role in Chicago for quite a while, and it's just not his role, not what he wants to do. And he started to blossom once they let him play that 2 role, that pure score where he thrives. I think that's a good fit for Houston and a good spot to be. Chicago's not interested in giving him a lot of money. So I think Houston is a good spot for Kobe, and then they can kind of figure out where to go from there. But yeah, I mean, same thoughts overall for Houston, is that offensively it seems like you got to slow up one guy when it comes down the stretch, and that's what good teams can focus on and good teams can stunt, and that's what Oklahoma City did. I do think DFS is just getting back into the fold. I don't expect him to score 14, 15 a game, maybe not even 12 points a game, but I do think he has a couple more buckets in him when he gets some more minutes and he gets back really in the fold. He's only played 9 games. So Finney Smith could be a guy to look at too. I still have a lot of faith in Houston, especially if they add at the deadline. That's we're back to the big worry with when Fred went down, right? It's like, who's going to backfill that? A ball handler that could shoot. That's a leader.
The thing I would say is, like, they can make the big move at the deadline. Those moves can get you to the finals, but you just don't wind up winning them. Like, you can swing for the fences and you might be able to make a playoff run. You might be able to get your season back on track, but it's just, you don't make the trade and then win the title. You don't have enough time to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah. And you're trying to make up too much time.
Yeah.
Now, if they can just sell down, maybe they'll be all right.
They can't wait though. That's the thing. It's like you have Kevin Durant and the clock is ticking on Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Like that's sort of the issue here too. But
before we hit best bets, I want to touch on something real quick. Somebody in the comment section here at youtube.com/theactionnetwork. Give us a like and subscribe. Mock Rivers says, I got voided on Nurkic again. What the fuck's going on with this guy? Okay. So this is a public service announcement. If the Utah Jazz are playing against a team that is definitively better than them, and they should lose, you can expect everybody to play, and you can safely play their props. They might hold guys out. It's possible. but they will probably play them. If they are facing teams that are definitively worse than them, they will play their guys usually, and they will actually usually kind of play them out. This is the surprise part. It's like they don't always hold them out versus the worst teams. Dallas is the exact type of team that you need to be careful with. The ones that are still trying, but are lottery teams, that's where Utah is going to be like, oh no, Laurie Marketing got sick today. That's a shame. Oh, we didn't want to play Speed tonight. We just felt it was better for the team to roll with a different lineup. Oh, Yusuf Nurkic. Well, the other team goes small, so we didn't think that Yusuf would be a good matchup. Like, that's where the hijinks begin. So if you're asking like what kind of teams we're talking about here, like I don't expect them to tank versus the Wizards until late in the season. Late in the season, they will. Like after All-Star, they will. But until we get to All-Star break, when they're facing teams like Dallas, if they're facing teams like the Kings, if they're facing teams like the Hornets, like the Nets are out tanking them right now. The Bucks, right? That's where you have to be on the lookout for Utah. You have to be really careful with what Utah is doing right now, because what they are doing is they are playing all their guys when they know they'll lose anyway, and they are ducking, and they're playing all their guys when they're gonna probably win, but they are also ducking their guys when it's like a kind of a coin flip and they can get away with it. So that's the kind of lesson here, is be very careful. The overall lesson might be just be careful on Jazz props. Just be careful on Jazz props, and honestly, sides and totals. Just like the Utah Jazz may not be a team that you can. I do not know. Like, this would be my argument to the league, honestly, is like either the Utah Jazz are manipulating their lineups in such a way that the betting market is not reflecting the full truth, and therefore you are exposing your partners to exposure of risk, or the books are aware of it and it's priced in and people are betting into what is not an open market. So just like as a heads up. And I had the same problem with the Raptors last year. I'm not trying to pick on the Jazz. Raptors last year, when they were benching guys in the fourth quarter, that was dirty. That was dirty tanking. There's clean tanking and dirty tanking, and we got some dirty tanking this season in the NBA. All right, we're gonna do best bets. We'll hit those on the other side, but first, the Buckets Podcast is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, and in partnership with DraftKings, our listeners get a great offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on star player props and in-progress games right as they happen. To get started, use promo code BucketsNBA when signing up with DraftKings. That's code BucketsNBA when signing up with DraftKings for $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours. Okay, let's do some best bets for Friday in the association. Sean Little, let's start with you, buddy. Let me know what's your 3-star bet of the night.
Philadelphia 76ers money line -120 versus the Cavaliers. These boys just played. They got a day off in between, but I love this spot for a lot of reasons for Philadelphia. So many things line up in their favor, in my opinion. Let's start with the injuries. Garland goes down again. You hate to see it. We finally got a peek of what Cleveland would look like at full force. They looked really, really good. He goes down again, still dealing with the toe. You do hate to see it because he was starting to play well. Sam Merrill also out for this game. Embiid and Paul George both probable, and they're both coming off a day of rest. Now, let's talk about the overall spot. Coming into the matchup versus Cleveland the other night, Philly had played 5 games in 7 days. 3 of them were on the road, and 2 of them went to overtime. Maxey and the guys absolutely exhausted. And now I know I make the joke of, you're happy to get back home. You go walk the dog, you pick up the dry cleaning, you go hang out with your girlfriend. Next thing you know, you have another basketball game, and you were just happy to finally get back home off the road and, get things in order. And that's kind of exactly what happened to Philly, in my opinion. I watched that game front to back, and They just never started. They just never showed up to the arena. The Sixers scored 7 points in the first quarter from the 10:47 mark to the 4:02 mark. And they were never, ever back in that game versus Cleveland. I think Philly will be ready to go from the jump with a little boost of Garland and Merrill being out Friday night at home after getting throttled in that game. In the first matchup, Cavs won 132-121. Merrill had 14 points, hit 4 triples. He was a big contributor. Jared Allen had 24 points in that game. As we know, that's a big number for Jared Allen. Garland played as well. Wasn't his best game, but still a ball handler and a guy that you could look to get shots up. And Philly had no Embiid or PG in that game. The other night, Garland scored 20. They're going to miss him. They were rolling a bit. They're going to miss Garland being back. If we could somehow get a not perfect game from Donovan Mitchell offensively, because he was unbelievable the other night, like didn't make any mistakes. He was sensational. And he has been pretty much all year long. He's been killing Philly, by the way. He had I think almost 50 in the first game. He was extremely efficient the other night. If we could have him have a little bit of a off offensive day, I don't think they have enough to keep up with Philly here in that duplexes spot, both of the games at home. I like this spot a lot. Maxey shot it poorly as well. The whole team as a whole shot it poorly from the perimeter as well. I think the regression comes back to the mean a little bit. Philly plays a lot better, and the Cavs missed 2 of their guys offensively. And God forbid we get a good game from like a QG or an Oubre. And I think this is just sets out to be a really good spot for Philly to get a win. So I'll lay the -120.
I got a supporting trend for you. This is a duplex spot, playing the same team twice in a week here. When you're a home favorite after you lost the last matchup, the Sixers in this spot, since they started doing these in 2021, are 9-3 at home, straight up and ATS. They've been really good at getting even when they're in this kind of a spot. This is also one of the few like double spots for me where I've been tracking like how do you play after you play a certain team, because certain teams wear you out and certain teams don't wear you out at all. You play really terribly after you play the Philadelphia 76ers this season. That's been a recurrent trend that like these teams have, not really terribly, but it hasn't been a positive spot to play after playing the Sixers. Teams have struggled in that environment after playing the Sixers. I think probably because I think their guards are so fast. They have so many fast guards like Maxey and Grimes and all these guys. This season after you play the Sixers this season, get this, teams are 14-24, 37% against the spread after you play the Sixers.
Interesting.
It takes something out of you. Now they're playing the Sixers again. Also, by the way, teams were really good after playing the Cavaliers this season, which the Sixers just did. So it's a weird kind of a matchup. The other thing I would kind of point out here is the Sixers have been really good this season when they've been against bad ATS teams, which the Cavaliers have been. They've been absolutely dreadful against the spread this season. It's been a real problem for them this season. The Sixers this season, when they play a team that is under 500 against the spread, are 13-6 ATS, 68%, 14-5 straight up. So if you're trying to figure out like what does that actually mean, the reason I put that trend together is I wanted to know how do certain teams perform versus teams that the market overestimates. And the market overestimates the Cavaliers, and the Sixers kill those type of teams. So without Garland, and he hasn't been good this season, but I also looked this up. They have a terrible ATS record without Garland. Like he hasn't helped them, but their ATS record without him isn't good either. So I absolutely back this play. Philadelphia 76ers on the money line. I think it's fine to lay the -1.5 as well. Bryan Fonseca, what's your 3-star bet of the night?
Yegor Joman. We're going to go to him here at 17.5 PRA. Me and Joe Delera tried this a few days ago, and then he was ruled out during the afternoon. So it's like, that sucks. So assuming he plays tomorrow, he has a very good matchup against Sean's Chicago Bulls, which we love to. The Bulls, if you play fantasy basketball, and if you play fantasy football, the Bulls are like the Dallas Cowboys this year, where you want to try to load up on guys who are playing against this defense. The Dallas Cowboys were great for that. Even after the trade deadline, you wanted to pick on their secondary with whatever receivers you have. If you have like the Panthers, if you have, the Eagles or whomever. In this instance, you just want to pick on the Bulls defense. They're not dead last, but they're pretty close. Yegor, 15-3-3 on 45% shooting, 46% for three, 81% on free throws over his last 12. He's showing some juice on the ball, off the ball as well, moving without the ball, shooting from the corners, complimentary basketball, side by side with MPJ. And even if he's not there at the same time, he's been effective over this in 9 of 12 games. And overall, I like what I'm seeing more than I thought I would, because I was very, very skeptical on him coming out of the draft. I think there's something there. I'm not going to say it's a star. I'm not going to say he's going to be like awesome in that sort of way, but there's some juice here early on where it looks like he's going to become a player for them. So like what I'm seeing, like the spot, like the matchup for him, like how he's been playing lately. And I think Yegor can get it done.
My only addition here is that it reminds me of Young Frankenstein. Is it Igor? It's Yegor. But yeah, I like this play. Demon's been balling. He's quietly had a really good rookie season, which no one has noticed. By the way, the Nets are tanking so hard. Like they won those games, and then like they were like, nope, no more of this. Stop that, Jordy. No more of that. All right, Sean, what are your 2 and your 1-star plays tonight?
2-star play is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves plus 3.5 versus the Houston Rockets squad that we just talked about. Look, I know I can hear the people in the back. No, Anthony Edwards. I get it. I understand. But I think more than a full possession is just too much in this spot for the older Houston Rockets. They're 0-3 ATS this year on back-to-backs. Minnesota's coming off 2 full days of rest, and they get Rudy Gobert back coming off the suspension. It's really no more than that. I'll take Randall, Jaden, Nas, Conley, Gobert, and Dante. Bones Highland me too. Don't let my boy Bones stay hot. And he can bring some offense as well. Yeah, I'll take the full possession. It's nothing more than Houston coming off a back-to-back, Minnesota coming off 2 full days of rest, and they'll have more offense than Houston. So I like that spot on the rest, on the firepower angle. And you never know with the back-to-back who will jump up on Houston's injury report here. Of course, not yet submitted as we record this at 11:47 on Thursday evening, East Coast time. So, yeah, give me the possession plus a hook, and I'll take the Minnesota Timberwolves. Oh, you want my 1?
Nah, I'm thinking about your.
Okay. Yeah, what do you think about Minnesota? 2 full days off. Gobert comes back.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the
Houston's
Ant thing's not great. I still make this under the number, even though, like, I have the Wolves as the number 2 power rated team in the Western Conference, or the number 1 power rated team in the Western Conference right now. Like, I have them number 1 power rated. They're above.
They're playing really well.
Like, part of that's because like Denver's numbers are truncated because even with the adjustment for Jokic on a fully healthy stretch, the impact of how the Nuggets have had to play without him is going to reflect in their numbers a little bit. So full strength, the Nuggets are still, I think number 1, but Minnesota's profile is really good, and they're just a really good team. If the Rockets lose to this Wolves team, especially if they don't rest anybody, if the Rockets lose to this Wolves team, there's just going to be red alarms everywhere. It's going to be bad in Houston if they lose this game, which is why I like betting on that possibility, because that would be freaking hilarious. So I like this. Talk to me about Kings minus 6.5.
Oh, this is I bet Philly. I bet Minnesota. this is just me closing my eyes and riding the Kings wave, baby. They've been playing the best basketball they've been playing all year long. So I'm going to close my eyes, lay 6.5. I didn't think I would ever on this podcast in 2026 say that I'm laying 6.5 with the Kings. But here we are. They've won 3 in a row. I'll lay the 6.5 with the Kings versus the Wizards. That was my strongest lean after my 3-star and 2-star plays that I actually already fired on.
So I love Trey Johnson. I think he's going to be great in this league. He's just finding his way. He's getting lots of valuable minutes. So I do not take joy in this. But I will share the number. When Trey Johnson plays more than 15 minutes, the Wizards are 12-20 against the spread, 38%. When he plays more than 20 minutes, they are 8-18, 31% against the spread. And when he plays more than 25 minutes, guys, the Washington Wizards are 4-11, 27% against the spread. Every number I have is like, oh no, you should bet the Wizards. Like, you should bet the Wizards on the money line. You should bet like a Wizards alt here because that's how bad the Kings have been this season. But I'm absolutely not going to try and catch a falling knife, and I'm absolutely not going to try and back this Wizards team that has, again, won some games in December, and then we're like, no, top 8 protected. Yeah. No, Tracy McCullum, time to So
I was just going to say it also helps when the team's trying to lose. So.
Also, Domantas Sabonis back.
Kings might be the best play on the board. Quietly.
If Denny's out, they could win 5 in a row because they have Portland after this at home.
Oh, now you're gonna make me look at. Let's see. Let's look at. Is there? Can't do playoffs. That would be too much. That would be crazy.
Can't do that.
That would be silly.
Play in ?
Yeah. Let me, I'm shopping for it. Hang on. There we go. Yeah. Oh, they're not yet because teams are still in progress. But that might be an interesting one. Maybe we'll talk about that on Sunday on. I
don't know if I can't do it
on the future.
No
show.
Middleton either.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. The Wizards are not subtle here, but at least they tell you, unlike the Jazz. Brian.
2 and 1 stars.
That might be a double-digit dub for the Kings, honestly.
Alts. Look for the alts. Jesus. 2-star play. Colin Murray Boyles, who will be one of the only healthy Toronto Raptors tomorrow night. We're taking him over 18.5 points plus rebounds against the Los Angeles Clippers. CMB will be starting. He has been starting. At center, if you want to call it that, whatever. He's going to be on the interior. RJ Barrett out, Jakob Poeltl out, Jacoby Walter out, Emmanuel Quickly questionable, Sandro Mamukelashvili questionable. Speaking of teams who are not being subtle, Raptors have a lot of injuries against the Clippers. It is what it is. CMB is going to play. He's healthy. He'll start, as mentioned. He's over 18.5 PR and 5 of 6. Now, there's already some movement. So if you do like this, he's been at 19.5 or over 19.5 and 3 of 6. He's been at 19 flat in 2 of these more recent games. So it's a decent spot for him, but it's more about opportunity here, given the amount of injuries and absences that the Raptors are going to have in this game. So we like CMB here. We like him to get those hustle rebounds, finish on the interior, and also maybe knock down a 3-point shot. He hasn't done it in a while, but he'll get 1 or 2 up a game. So we'll see about that. 1-star. Andrew Nembhard, 24.5 points plus assists if you can get it. That's already moving to 25.5. Over in 7 of 10, over 25.5 in 6 of 10. So not a big difference there if you just like 25.5. Another matchup. He's playing against the Pelicans. The Pelicans have Herb Jones out. Wonder why. Jose Alvarado out for 2 weeks. Wonder why. Third worst defense. They allow the second most threes per 100 possessions in terms of attempts and second most assists per 100 possessions. Nembhard has gone under in 2 straight, but was doing really well before that. I even bet on him to get a double-double at, I think it was plus 375 or plus 325 and he had 9 assists in 3 quarters and didn't get one in the fourth quarter. Of course, he had the points. I may look at that again. We'll see, because there's probably going to be a juicy number that may get, a 0.2 of a unit or something like that. But this should be a statistically a bounce back spot for Andrew Nembhard in a game that's obviously winnable for the Pacers against a team in New Orleans where I don't know how much interest they have in winning right now, even though they have their draft pick situation. But they have guys that they can get value for, and maybe we'll see a totally different Pelicans roster in a few weeks.
I don't think Herb's on the market, just for what it's worth. I do think Alvarado is. So Alvarado is one to definitely keep an eye on.
Yeah.
All right. So those are the plays from Sean and Brian. We'll take a look at them on the board here. Sean Lill likes the Sixers -1.5 on the money line as well. Minnesota Timberwolves +3.5, and the Sacramento Kings of all teams -6.5. Anytime you can bet the Sacramento Kings on a Friday night, gotta do it. Brian Fonseca likes Yegor Damon over 17.5 PRA, Colin Murray Boyles over 18.5 PR, and Andrew Nembhard over 24.5 points and assists. We do have a DraftKings Sportsbook parlay for you on the night. We're going to do a little money line parlay. We're going to do the Sixers off of Sean's cap. We talked about it, about all the trends and everything else to back this as a revenge spot play for the Sixers. I like the opportunity here quite a bit. Sixers -120. We're going to go ahead and play the Wolves on the money line without Anthony Edwards in what feels like a very big must-win spot for the Rockets. But we're going to go ahead and play it because that's all you got to be bold. Minnesota Timberwolves +136, and the Los Angeles Clippers -125 versus the Raptors. Brian talked about all the injuries for the Raptors. Clippers are playing some of the best ball of the season.
Yep.
Kawhi Leonard will not let them lose. Sixers, Wolves, Clippers moneyline parlay +678 at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you guys being with us, whether you join us on Twitter or at youtube.com/theactionnetwork. We'll be back again Sunday night for the Future Jays. No, I won't be on that show. I'm taking the weekend off, but guys will have you set for the weekend. Hope you guys have a great weekend watching the games, watching the football, watching all of the things, and of course, watching the hoops, sweating those games. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys again next time. Until then, let's get buckets. Yeah, go.